Okay, let's continue our discussion on strings. So the first function that we'll look at in this video is the capitalize function. Okay, so let me help you out here. We're talking about the capitalize function. Okay, and what does this function do? So the capitalize function, what it does is it converts the first character into uppercase. Okay, that is the meaning of capitalize. So we'll see with the help of an example what exactly this means. So the function, what it will do is it will take a string and it will convert the first character of the string into uppercase. Okay, so that is what the capitalize function does. Let's take an example and see how it works, and then we can add a few more points after we are done. So let's take an example. Let's say we have a string called my text, and it says, hello friends, how are you doing? Okay, and after this what I do is, let's say I have an output string called my text cap, and I'm going to apply the capitalize function on the string my text. So I say my text dot capitalize. That's it. So I'm calling the capitalize function on my input called my text. As you can see here, the input string that I've created, my text, I'm calling the capitalize function on it. And after I'm done, what I'll do is I'll print my text cap. So if I execute this, can you see the first character? So if you look at this string, just observe this string, the very first character of this string is in lowercase. And once we apply the capitalize function on this string, what do we get? We get an output, as you can see here. And in this output, the first character of the string is in uppercase. So this is what I meant when I typed this sentence where I said that it converts the first character of the string into uppercase. So which is the first character in this string? It is H. So it converts this small h into uppercase. Now you might be wondering what will happen if the first character is already in uppercase. Then there'll be no change in the output. Okay. So let me give you an example here. So let me just select the entire thing and let's go to a new cell and let's say it's already in uppercase. Okay. Let's see what happens in that case. Can you see you're getting the same output? It's absolutely fine. If it's already in uppercase and you apply the capitalize function, there is no change. Now what if the first letter of the subsequent words are also in uppercase? That means the F in friends is in uppercase, the H in how is in uppercase, the A in R is in uppercase. Then what will happen? Let's find out. So let's say I make changes here. So this becomes capital. Let's say this becomes capital as well. This becomes capital. This becomes capital. And this becomes capital. Now if I execute, can you see what I'm getting? Yeah, this is very interesting. What capitalize function does is it takes the entire string and it considers the very first character of the string. So what is the very first character of the string? It is capital H. So when it tries to convert capital H into uppercase, there'll be no change. And what it will do is, barring the first character, all the remaining characters of the string are converted into lowercase. That's why you can see that the F is now in lowercase. In the input, it was in uppercase. The H is now in lowercase. The H of how is in lowercase, whereas it was in uppercase in the input, and so on. So the capitalize function, so we can note this down here. So I can say that it deals only with the first character, right, of the input string, right? All characters other than the first character are converted into lowercase, right? Okay, I hope these points are clear to you. You can pause the video for a moment and have a look. So the capitalize method, to sum things up, returns a string where the first character of the string is in uppercase, right? And accepts no inputs, right? No input parameters. As you can see, I've used the capitalize function on a number of occasions here, on 3 occasions, but in none of the cases did I have to pass any value as a parameter. So the parentheses remains empty. Okay, great. So I hope the capitalize function is clear to you. The next function that we want to focus on is the count function. Okay, so let me just turn this into markdown. Let's focus on the count function. Okay, so what does the count function do? As the name suggests, you can understand it is related to some sort of counting operation. Now, what is it that it counts? It counts a particular string in a given input string. So you're going to pass a particular string to the count function, and what the count function will do is it will take that input parameter that you have passed within parentheses, and it will check how many times that parameter occurs within the input string. Okay, so let's try to understand this with the help of an example. So whatever I said, let me just make a point, make a couple of points here. So it returns the number of times a string, or let's call it number of times a parameter string. Why am I calling it a parameter string? I'm calling it a parameter string because I'll be passing the string as a parameter. Okay, within parentheses. So it returns the number of times a parameter string occurs in an input string. So here input string, by input string, let me make it very clear. Parameter string refers to string passed as parameter within parentheses. Okay, that is the parameter string. And what about the input string? The input string is the string on which the count method is invoked. Okay, all right, now let's take an example and try to understand this. So let's have my text equal to I love eating apples. I love eating mangoes. Okay, so let's say this is my string. And now let's say I want to find how many times the word love occurs in my input string. So what do I do? Very simple. I can say, I can take a variable called countLove, and I can invoke the count function on my input string. What is my input string? My input string is called my text. So I'll say my text dot count, and what will I do? I'll pass the parameter that I'm looking to search. So I'm looking to search for the parameter love. Now, if I try to print this variable count love, what will I get? Can you see I'm getting 2? Why? Because quite rightly, the term love occurs twice, right? In my string, occurs twice in my string. So that is why I'm getting the output as 2. Right? Now let's try to search for a string which does not exist. So let's say we are looking for the string hard. So as you can see in my input string, there is no hard, right? There is no term called hard. So if I try to execute this, what will happen? I'll get the value as 0. So if the string is found, then you will get the count of it. And if the string is not found, you will get 0. You will get 0 as the result. You will not get an error, okay? Even if the string that you're looking for is not present in the input, you will not get an error. Instead, you will get a 0 as the output. Okay, fine. Now, there is a slight variation of the count function. That means, by variation, what I mean is, there are two optional parameters that the count function can accept. Okay, and those two optional parameters are the start and the end parameters. The start parameter will talk about the starting position of search, and the end parameter will talk about the ending position of search. By default, the start parameter takes a value of 0. That means it starts searching from the beginning of the string. And by default, the end parameter takes the value as the length of the string. That means it searches till the end of the string. Okay, let's try to understand this. So I'll just take the same example. Now here, what I can do is I can say that the starting point of my search operation is, let's say, 8. And let's say I don't mention the ending point. So if I say that the starting point is 8, which character am I referring to? So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm starting from this character A. This character A in the term eating, I'm starting from here, right? And let's say I don't mention the end parameter. Then what will happen? It will go up to the end of the string, because by default, it searches till the end of the string. Let's try to execute this. Can you see? I'm getting 0 because I'm searching for this term hard, which does not exist. If I search for the term love, I'm getting 1 because starting from this position A, in the word eating, if I go till the end, I find that the term love occurs only once. So that's why I'm getting the output as 1. Okay, what if I say that the ending position is 15? So what is this 15 position? So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 is the space, 14 is the A, 15 is the apples, the P in the apples. So this is the region that I'll be searching, the part that I've highlighted. Okay, this is the region that I'll be searching. Now in this region, does the term love occur? Of course not. So if I try to search for it, yeah, there you have it. I get a value of 0. I get a value of 0, right? Okay, but if I search for the string, let's say ing, then of course the ing is present, right? Let's see if we get the output. Can you see we're getting the output as 1? Why? Because ing occurs here. Can you see? Ing occurs in the word eating, and it's in this range 8 to 15. So 8 means this character A, and 15 refers to the P, right? In the apples. So in this region, yes, ing occurs. So I'm getting the output as 1. Okay, I hope this is understood. The next function that I want to focus on is the join function. Okay, so let's talk about the join function. The join function is a fairly useful function and one that is quite often used while developing Python programs. It finds a lot of applications. What it does is it joins the elements to the end of the string. Okay, so it takes an iterable and it joins the elements of the iterable at the end of the string. So joins the elements of an iterable at the end of the string, right? That's what it does. Now, in order to understand this better, let's take an example. Okay, let's take an example. So we'll consider the iterable, the list iterable. Okay, let's consider the list iterable. So here iterable refers to lists, it refers to tuples, dictionaries, right? The data structures that are available in Python. That's what it refers to when you're talking about iterable. Sets, right? All of it is included under iterables. So let's say I have a list called my list. Let's say Sachin, Dhoni, Dravid, and let's say Sehwag. Okay. Now if I say join string, let's call it join string, and let's say I give a space, say dot join, and then I pass the name of the list, which is my list. Now if I try to print join string, can you see what has happened? See, try to understand this. I'm calling the join function. Can you see? I'm calling the join function on a string. What is that string? That string is an empty space. Once again, I'm calling the join function on a string, which is a white space, and I'm passing to the join function an iterable, which is a list called my list in this case. This is the list that I'm passing to it. Now what it does is it takes every element of the list. So first it picks up Sachin, and then it concatenates this part. It concatenates the string on which join was called. So join was called on a white space, right? So it picks up Sachin and concatenates this white space with it. Then it picks up Dhoni, and whatever it got so far, what does it have right now? It has Sachin followed by a white space. Now to Sachin followed by a white space, that means this portion, let's say this portion which I've highlighted, it concatenates Dhoni followed by a white space. Similarly, with that it concatenates Dravid followed by a white space. So in this way, all the elements in my iterable are joined using the character on which the join function was called, right? Or using the string rather, not the character, using the string on which the join function was called, which in this case happened to be a white space, right? And this is what we got as the output. So the join method takes all the items in an iterable and joins them into one complete string. And remember, a string must be specified as the separator. So here we are invoking the join function on this string, right? On this string, which is a white space. This acts as the separator. The string on which we are invoking the join function, it acts as the separator. Separator between what? Separator between every pair of the iterable items. So in our case, the iterable is a list. So between every pair of list items, this string on which the join function is invoked will be added as a separator. Okay. And this is not only true for lists, we can also do this with tuples. I'll show you. So let's say in place of list, if I have a tuple, so I'll just change this to parentheses. And now instead of, let's say, white space, this time around I use something like triple hash. Okay. And then if I try to print join string, can you see? Now between every pair of list item, in fact, between every pair of tuple items, we have 3 hash symbols which are acting as the separators, right? Always remember the string on which the join function is called will always act as the separator between every pair of items in the iterable. Whether the iterable is a list or a tuple, that doesn't matter. Okay, and one more example I would like to show you. Let's say I have a dictionary. Okay, let's say I have a dictionary. Let's say name. Name is Alan. Let's say country is, let's say USA or US. And let's say location is Malibu. Okay, so I've defined a dictionary, as you can see. So dictionary of 3 key value pairs, right? This is the first key value pair, this is the second key value pair, and this is the third key value pair. Of course, I haven't discussed dictionary in details, so don't worry. This is just a very trivial example where you don't need great knowledge of dictionary in order to understand it. Just keep in mind a dictionary is like your hash table. So just like in a hash table, you have a set of key values, and corresponding to every key value or corresponding to every key, there is a corresponding value attached to it. Similarly, for a dictionary, name acts as a key, country acts as a key, location acts as a key, and for every key we have a corresponding value. So against name we have Alan, against country we have US, and against location we have Malibu. Okay, now let's try to use excuse me, let's try to use the join function on this dictionary. So let's say I define a separator. So I'll say my separator is equal to, let's say testing. Okay, and I'll say output string is equal to, so my separator dot join, and I'll pass the dictionary. What is the dictionary? My dict, right? And if I try to print my output string, what do I get? Can you see? So here you might be wondering what just happened. See, the key was taken, which is the first key? Name. So here you have name, and then you have the separator. The separator is testing, as you can see here, it's testing. Then you take the next key, which is country. So here you have country. Then again you take testing, which is the separator, and you take the next key, which is location, right? So here is the location. So in this way you can use a dictionary with the join function. So when you're using the join function on a dictionary, keep in mind the values corresponding to the keys. The values in this case are Alan, US, and Malibu. These values do not play any role in the join operation. Only the keys are joined, separated by the separator on which the join function is invoked. So the separating string on which the join function is invoked is testing, right? So what happens here is the keys are joined one after the other, separated by the separator, right? Okay, so I hope this point is clear to all of you. And now we can move on to the next function, which is starts with. So if you remember, in one of our earlier videos, we had looked at the ends with function. So just like there is ends with, there is also something known as starts with. The logic remains the same. Just like ends with would return true if our input string, if our original string ended with a particular value. Similarly, the starts with function will return true if our input string starts with a particular value. Okay, that is the logic. So the logic is consistent. Let's take an example and explore this further. So let me just formalize things for you. So this is our starts with function, right? Okay, so let me just write down one point. Again, starts with. What does it do? Okay, let's say it returns true if the string starts with a specified value, otherwise returns false, right? Fairly simple. I think this point will be clear to you once we take an example. So let's say I have a string called my text, say good evening dear students. Okay, and now if I say, if I type my text dot starts with, and if I pass a string, the string that I'm looking to check for, then I'll get a result. I'll show you. So if I say check with good, and if I store this, let's say in X, and then if I try to print X, what do I get? I get true. Why? Because have a look at this. The starts with function is invoked on the string my text. That's the first thing. So what is my text? My text is this particular string which I have currently highlighted. And the starts with function, in the starts with function, we are passing a string called good. So what it will do is it will take the string on which the starts with function is invoked, which in this case is my text. So it will take the my text string and it will check whether the string my text starts with this particular string called good, which is passed as a parameter. Once again, I repeat, the starts with function will take the string on which it is invoked. So starts with is invoked on my text. So it will take this string my text, and in this string, it will look at the beginning of the string. It will check whether the beginning of the string, the starting point of the string, is indeed the string which is passed as a parameter. So what is passed as a parameter? Good. So it will check whether my text starts with good or not. So in this case, it starts with good. That means it's absolutely fine. So that's why it's returning true. Now what if I pass, instead of good with a capital G, if I pass good with a small g, what happens? I get false, which proves that starts with is case sensitive, right? So you'll have to pass the exact string. There has to be an exact match in order for starts with to return a true value. In case there is a mismatch, either in terms of the case, that means maybe it's starting with lowercase and you pass an uppercase value, or vice versa, or if the value doesn't match at all, that means instead of good, if I pass something like warm, then also I get false, because warm does not match with good, right? My string, my text is not beginning with warm, it's beginning with good. So good and warm, they don't match. That's why I get a false value. Okay, so that's how starts with actually works, right? And just like we saw earlier on in the video with the count function, in starts with as well, there is a start and end parameter. Okay, that means you can check a region of the string whether it begins with a particular value. So by default, it will always check from the starting point of the string. But if you want, you can change this. If you want, you can change this. It's very simple. What you do is you pass the value. So let's say I want to check whether a certain region of my string begins with dear or not. So I'll just pass the string dear and I have to give a start value and I have to give an end value. Again, I may not give an end value. In that case, it will search till the end of the string. And if I do not mention the start value, like you saw earlier, it starts from the beginning of the string. So let's say I use something like for here deer occurs somewhere, right? So if you observe the string deer, it's actually starting from the position 13. Okay, if you count your index value starting from 0, you'll find that deer starts at index 13. So if I say 13 here, now if I try to print it, see I'm getting true. Let's say if I slightly change this, if I change this to 14, then I get false, right? So in this way, you can search in a particular region of the string as well. Okay, so that's how starts with works. I hope this video proves to be beneficial to you. If you have any doubts, feel free to leave it in the comment section. And thank you for staying tuned to the video till the end. And I hope you find this useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.